Hi everybody, this is Dr. Doug Graham here. I'm sitting under a tree in Costa Rica and want to share with you my success approach after over 30 years of succeeding food diet. I've been living what is known as hygiene, the science of human health, for over 30 years, and it has done wonders for my life. I was not a healthy child. I had allergies. I was near asthmatic if I got around grass or cats or hay or a variety of foods. I was told I was allergic to myself, and that if I got sick, I was allergic to the antibodies that helped me get well. I mean, I was destined to be sick for my entire life. I missed so much school due to illness, it was crazy. Then I started changing my diet, and I went vegetarian, and I went vegan, and I went raw. And by the late 70s, I was eating a raw food diet, and everybody told me that won't work. That's kind of how I knew I was onto something. Well, I went through my medical training. I opened a fasting retreat. I helped thousands of sick people get well, while the whole time, my interest was in sports and sports performance. As much as I loved helping sick people get well, I really wanted to see the top performers perform beyond their wildest dreams. No one in the raw food movement knew how to do that. I asked 5 top raw food leaders. In fact, that's all there were. Back then, there was 5 raw food leaders. So I asked them all, how do you help athletes do their best? And they said, raw food. And I said, well, what would the diet be like? And they said, we don't know. No idea. Never done that. We just help sick people get well. So I started playing around, started eating more fruit. But every time my diet failed, rather than saying that the diet failed me, I said, maybe I didn't do it right. And I tried another version and another version. I tried eating lots of nuts and seeds. I tried eating the best oils. I tried all the superfoods and all the supplements and all the condiments and powders and elixirs. And you know what happened? I kept going back to cooked food. I kept going back to cooked carbohydrate. Bread, rice, pasta, corn, potatoes. I kept going back to bread, rice, pasta, corn, potatoes. Something like that. I kept going back to cooked food. Eventually I thought, well, if I keep going back to cooked carbohydrates, why not just eat more raw carbohydrates? And so I did. I started eating more fruit. I had fruit as my only food for breakfast, and I felt much better. And after a year or so of that, I started having fruit as my only food for lunch. Fruit for breakfast, fruit for lunch, and a big salad at dinner. That almost worked. But still, I found myself at the end of the meal, at the end of that dinner meal, I'd find myself looking around. I'd find myself craving. And having cravings is the last thing you want to have when you think you're eating the healthiest diet there could possibly be. I'm going, why am I having cravings, and what am I craving? Sometimes I'd crave sweets at the end of the meal. Sometimes I want something heavy at the end of the meal, like nuts or seeds or avocado. Sometimes I'd want complex carbohydrates. And sometimes, in between meals, I'd be looking around for something ultra sweet, dried fruit or candy or alcohol or something super sweet, even chocolate, something super sweet. And I go, I shouldn't be having these cravings. Something's wrong. Why am I having cravings? And I said, the only thing that could possibly work would be eat more fruit, eat more carbohydrates, and let's see what happens then. So I tried. And I ate fruit for breakfast, all I cared for, enough to hold me until lunch. I ate fruit for lunch, all I cared for, enough to hold me and keep me satisfied until dinner. And then I had all the fruit I wanted before I sat down to my big dinner salad, and I ate dinner salad with gusto after my fruit. Well, you know, it was like a light went on. My eyes opened up. My energy was just off the charts. I was feeling so fantastic. This is 25 years ago, and I didn't have the terminology to explain to people or express to people what was going on. I didn't really know the vocabulary. I didn't understand the science. I had all my nutritional training though, and I started putting it together. I started working and chipping away at how could I explain this to others? Why is this working so well? Why is a diet of fruits and vegetables working so well when I put all the emphasis on fruit while allowing myself to eat all the vegetables I want? And eventually, bing, it came clear. It was easy as pie. I'm giving myself as much carbohydrate as I want, as much as I need. I'm getting all the protein I require, and I'm supplying the right amount of fat from healthy sources, fruits and vegetables. Not too much fat and not too little fat, and that seems to be the key. A lot of people focus in nutrition on the idea of giving more of this, the best of that, the highest of this, and that's not really how nutrition works. Nutrition works by getting yourself the amount you need, not too much, not too little. You want to make sure you get just the right amount, and when you get just right, everything clicks. It's like tuning your car. You don't want things to be too tight. You don't want things to be too loose. You don't want things too fast or too slow or too high or too low. Same thing for nutrition. When you get your nutrition right, you really, really know it. It's easy to feel it. So what's right when it comes to people? Because every person is different. We're all different. We live in different places. Heck, the men and the women are completely different. We have to look to nature at least a little bit while we rely upon science to tell us what we need to know. Nature shows us a clear example. Nature shows us that every species of food eats a specific diet. It's called their species-specific diet. And every animal has a species-specific diet, including people. We can look at our anatomy, we can look at our physiology, we can look at our psychology, we can look at our emotional makeup, we can look at our biochemistry, at the physics of movement. We can look at any science and see that we're built to eat fruits and vegetables. That is designed to be our primary food. Can we eat other things? Sure, of course we can eat other things. We can survive harsh times when nothing else is around by eating other foods. But the foods we're designed to thrive on, the ones that catch our eye, fruits and all the colors and smells and tastes and textures, that catches our mind's eye. It catches our eye. When you see fruit hanging on a tree, you want to pick it, don't you? We're designed to eat fruit. But there's a fifth craving. Besides the four I mentioned of craving heavy foods after a meal, craving sweets after a meal, craving complex carbohydrates at any time, or in between meals looking for ultra-sweet treats, candy, alcohol, chocolate, dried fruit. Besides those four cravings, there's a fifth craving, and that is if you're craving salt. When you're craving salt, it's a surefire clue that you are not eating enough vegetables. You've got to eat your vegetables. If you don't eat your vegetables, your diet will fail, your health will fail. I've not met the person who doesn't at least eat some vegetables. Oh, they might call those vegetables fruits. They might say, well, the tomato is biologically a fruit, and I eat tomatoes. Or the cucumber is biologically a fruit, and I eat cucumbers. Well, fine. Those are vegetables in the kitchen. I understand that botanically you're talking about a fruit. But when we eat, we don't eat by botany. We eat by culinary skills, by what we do in the kitchen. And any chef will agree that an eggplant and a zucchini and a pepper and okra and tomatoes and cucumbers are all vegetables in the kitchen. You put them in a salad and you eat them. You've got to eat your vegetables. This is where you're going to get the mineral density that really makes the fruit and vegetable diet work for you. Your celery and other leafy, tender greens, these provide us with essentials that can be gotten elsewhere, but they provide it in density that is exceptionally satiating. They provide it in density compared to the amount of sugar. They provide volume that we simply can't eat from fruit without over-consuming calories, exceeding our digestive capacities. And they provide a water content compared to the amount of sugar that allows a great deal of water to be released and available to us. Whereas the sugars in fruit demand so much water be used with them that the water in the fruit is in many ways tied up to dilute those sugars. Well, where does this lead us? It leads us to a diet that science says, for humans, fruits and vegetables. But we were talking about, aren't we all different? Sure, we're all different. But we all have eyes, we all have noses, we all have fingers and toes, we all have liver and pancreas and spleen and heart and gallbladder and all those other organs, kidneys. It's important to emphasize the fact that for every single difference between one human being and another, and there might be 2 million differences between one human being and another, that there are trillions and trillions of similarities for every difference. We must eat according to the similarities. There's 1 million differences between one buffalo and the next, but they eat a species-specific diet. There's 1 billion differences between one cow and another, but they eat according to their similarities. Species-specific diet is a key piece of information to keep in mind to help you have peace of mind and to understand that before we start making a special diet specific to any one individual, that we first need to look at the diet that is correct for human beings. And that's one where you eat enough fruit so that you don't experience any of the first 4 cravings I mentioned, and enough fruit so that you hold your weight if you're trying to hold your weight, while eating enough vegetables so that you don't crave salt. It's no different than air in this regard. You need to breathe enough so that you don't crave air. Give yourself as much as you require of fruits and vegetables, and a great deal of the rest just falls into place. Of course, health is not built just around food. And people who start to think that health is built completely around food are truly misleading themselves, because health is made up of over 32 different factors. We have to be gregarious. We have to get enough sleep. We have to make sure we stay well rested, that we develop our emotional poise, that we get fitness activities and sunshine and daylight and fresh air and fun, and hear music, even if it's in the sounds of nature, that we participate in all of the various factors and facets of health creation, because your health is never stronger than its weakest link. Health is created bit by bit and not only bite by bite. And we want to make sure that when we blame our ill health on food, that food is really the cause. Because many times people have come to me trying to create healthy food programs, and when I look at their diet, I can see that their diet is just fine. They're eating plenty of fruits and vegetables. Diet isn't the problem. But they're not getting enough sleep, or they're too totally way stressed out, or they live a sedentary lifestyle, and you can't be healthy if you're not fit. I'm sorry. for those of you who think that you can be healthy if you're just mentally healthy, it's not going to work. Or you can be healthy if you just eat the right foods, it's not going to work. You have to take care of all of the factors involved in health, all of the factors required for health. And your health isn't going to be better than its weakest link. And if it is, it won't be for long. So can we then make custom programs? Of course we can make custom programs. We have to take the foods that are available in your area. We have to take the foods that you like. We have to take the foods that like you. Because you might like something that doesn't agree with you when you eat it. And so we have to look at the different factors and then start to see what are your requirements. Because a pro athlete that needs 5 or 6 or 7 or even 8,000 calories per day because they train that hard, or a construction worker who does powerlifting in the evenings and really works hard and needs a lot of calories, these people have to eat a bit differently than people who don't do that much, take care of their fitness needs, but have a sedentary job, train for half an hour, 5 or 6 times a week. Those people eat differently again. How do they eat differently is the question. The primary difference is going to revolve around the number of calories, the quantity of food that they consume. Eventually, the frequency, because if you're eating twice as much food, you might have to eat a bit bigger meals, or you might have to eat a few extra meals. There's differences to consider between the athlete and the non-athlete, but the food choices are basically going to be which foods agree with you, which foods do you like, which foods are available in your area, and which foods do you find work best for you after practice, practice, practice. Which foods work best for you to do the type of athletic performance that you wish to do, or which foods work best for you when you're trying to rebuild your health. And I find that that is different for different people. Some people do really well on the juiciest foods, the juiciest fruits, the oranges and the mangoes and the papayas and the juicy type fruits, the pineapples, and they like berries and all light foods of that sort. And I find other people do far better when they eat the sweetest, densest, heaviest fruits they can find. They can pack in the calories, and they can eat bananas till the cows come home, and they can eat dates and figs and really rich fruit and be very, very happy with that. And that's fine. We don't all need to eat the exact same food. There's no reason to think that people are all designed to eat the exact same food. We're allowed to have preferences and choices and variety through the seasons and eat those foods that seem most appealing to us as individual people. And eat those foods that work best and digest best for us as individual people. That's fine. But the category of foods from which we choose wants to remain fruits and vegetables, to predominate our diet with things that are fruit and vegetable. Is there room for anything else? Is there room to eat a nut or a seed? If you so desire. Is there room to eat the fatty fruits? If you so desire, sure, the answers are yes. The idea, however, is to make sure that the carbohydrate content of your diet remains above 80% of the total calories consumed on any given day. As long as you're staying up above 80% of calories coming from carbohydrates, you're doing fine. You're not going to have any issues in this regard. How much should you eat? You need to eat enough so that you're satisfied from meal to meal. You need to eat enough so that if you're already at your goal weight, you can stay there. Or close to there if you think, well, I'm at my goal, but I wouldn't mind being a pound or two lighter. You need to eat enough so that you don't experience cravings. That's a for certain. And you need to eat enough so that you're happy when the meal ends. When the meal is done, if you can walk away happy. Now, some people say, you know, I had enough fruit. I'm sure I had enough calories, but I didn't eat enough volume. In that case, you want more volume, it's easily a problem solved. Eat more lettuce, eat more celery, have another cucumber. Vegetables add almost no calories. Oh yeah, a tiny bit, but almost no calories, while being exceptionally rich in volume, water, minerals, very satiating qualities. If I want to create a custom diet for someone, I'm going to ask them which foods they like. It doesn't matter where they live. That's not the point, where they live, because everybody lives in a little mini tropical environment. We call that tropical environment that we create and we contain around ourselves, we call it clothing. We call it bedding. We call it heating our homes. And with clothing, bedding, and heat, we keep ourselves comfortable, at a comfortable temperature. And so at that point, it doesn't matter where you live. It wouldn't matter if you had a dog and you moved from the Arctic Circle to the equator. You would still feed the dog the same food. Why should you think that we should vary our food based on where we live? No, we want to have fruits and vegetables. Oh, locally grown food is great. I'm in favor of locally grown food because it's easier on the environment. It tends to be fresher, and it often tastes better as a result, especially if you grew it yourself. But it doesn't have to be. You don't have to get your bananas from down the street, because likely nobody's growing bananas. Bananas grow in a specific place, but those are people food because originally we all came from tropical environments. Before bedding, before clothing, before artificial heating of homes, we had to live in the tropics. We had no other choice. And so, obviously, we all originated in the tropics. This is where people lived for millions of years. We survived millions of years before even having tools, just picking fruit and picking greens and eating them, because that's what was easily available. And every creature eats food that's easily available to them. A lion might watch a herd of animals for 6 or 8 hours, but when he strikes, he's got his food in moments. Birds might fly overhead, over the water, for half an hour, looking and looking and looking for food. But when they strike, they've got food in moments, seconds. A cow might walk around in a field looking for the perfect bit of grass, but when he decides that he found the grass he wants, he just puts his head down and eats. And we might walk around from tree to tree, or checking out fruit after fruit after fruit after fruit. But when we find the one we want, we just pick it and eat it. It's not that hard to do. See food, pick food, eat food. It's almost instantaneous gratification. People ask me if I eat fast food, and I say, of course not. I eat instantaneous food. It takes nothing for me to get my food ready. It's instantaneously ready. All I do is eat it. Sometimes I pick it first, and sometimes I just sneak up on it and take a bite. So what's the philosophy that makes my approach so successful that thousands of people have regained their health, and thousands of athletes have reached peaks of performance beyond what they ever hoped to aspire to, setting personal records after personal records for decades longer than they expected? What's so special about the program? The program is that it's not mine. I don't claim credit for it. I don't put my name to it. The program is designed by nature. We simply follow the laws of nature. The program, as best as can be defined, however, in words, is known as hygiene, sometimes natural hygiene. And hygiene is the science of human health. And the science of human health states that the substances, forces, influences, and conditions required for health when we're healthy are the same ones as those required for health when we're ill. That's a big difference from the medical model that says that the substances, forces, influences, and conditions required for health when we're sick are different than those required for health when we're healthy. So where the medical model might say, oh, drink milk, it's good for you, but if your child's sick, don't give him milk because it'll get him congested. Well, how does the milk know if you're sick or well? Don't take drugs, because drugs will make you sick if you're well, says the medical model. But if you're sick, those drugs will get you well. Well, the hygiene model says no. The hygiene model says that which makes you well when you're well is the same as that which makes you well when you're ill, but that sometimes you have to modify how much sleep, how much exercise, how much fresh air, how much rest, how much time with other people, how much time alone. We modify all of the factors required for health on a daily basis, but the same ones that allow your body to build itself from one cell to two to millions to trillions, healthfully, perfectly. The same power that made the body and heals the body allows the body to heal itself. Our bodies are self-monitoring, self-repairing, self-controlling, self-cleansing. The body runs itself, and we get to go for a ride and experience the positive results. But health is created through healthful living. And it doesn't matter if it's a child, or a senior citizen, or an athlete, or just a regular person who has an office job. Health is going to come from healthful living. This is where health is designed. This is where health is maintained. This is where it's created and accumulated. And the healthier you are, the healthier you live, the more benefits, the more exciting life is, the better and more positive the outlook, the bigger the aspirations, the greater the joy of life. Because health is its own reward. Health is the benefit of healthful living. Health is the energy and the enthusiasm and the brightness and the brilliance and the clarity of mind and the clearness of heart and the feeling of wanting to take care of the world, including the people and the plants and the animals. Health is the kindness that's in all of us. It's easy to give when you feel great. It's really hard to take care of others, anything else, when you feel badly. When you feel badly, you're sick, you go to bed. You're not really benefiting anyone except taking care of yourself. And that's certainly a first requirement, but we're here to make the world a better place. And in order to do that, in order to express our generosity and our kindness and our goodwill, we first have to feel fantastic. We first have to take care of business at home and make ourselves feel good. We do that through healthful living because predictably, healthful living results in health. And there's no other way to create health without first and foremost using healthful living and requiring and utilizing and making sure that what we do is live healthfully each and every day. There's no magic. There's no special food. There's nothing super about a superfood. I don't think for a second that supplement the diet or are more nutritious than fruits and vegetables. Fresh, whole, ripe, raw, organic fruits and vegetables are the most nutritious foods on the planet. We can't do better than that. If you want to supplement your diet, Eat more fruits and vegetables. Whole, fresh, ripe, raw, organic plants. That's the way to go. That's the strongest food you can possibly eat for yourself and the best you can possibly do for yourself. Science has shown us again and again that when we cook food, even when we steam food, that carcinogens are formed, that mutagens are formed, literally substances that cause our cells to make it impossible for them to reproduce themselves properly, that we lose antioxidants and phytonutrients wholesale. We're losing massive quantities of potential nutrition when we cook our food. We're creating foods that the body attacks as toxic to us. Literally white cell masses to the area and tries to fight off the foreign proteins that are coagulated when we cook our food. Think of the damage done to your hand or face if it's exposed to steam. And that same damage can be applied and is applied to food when we steam it. There is no gentle cooking. You're either cooking or you're not. And cooking is harmful to our food. There's no model in nature for animals cooking their food. And we have to accept that at some basic point, that human beings have a tremendous amount of free will, and that's fantastic. I love the fact that we have free will. We have the ability to wonder about things and then try them. But we also have the intelligence to be able to see that when something isn't working, it isn't working, and we shouldn't keep it. If we do it again and again expecting it to work, that's craziness. If cooking food hasn't worked for 10 or 20,000 years since we started the experiment, isn't it about time that we gave up on that experiment and said, let's do the raw food experiment again? We have the ability to supply whole, fresh, ripe, raw, organic fruits and vegetables to every single human on earth if we so choose to put our energy in that direction. We should get to a point, I believe human beings will soon be at a point where they don't even need to talk about such a thing, that eating fruits and vegetables becomes the automatic way, and that is not even a question any longer. What do I eat? I typically have some fruit for breakfast. If I eat breakfast at all, I'm not a big breakfast eater myself. I like to have my largest meal in terms of calories at the middle of the day after I've been active, and my largest meal in terms of volume at the end of the day. So I'll have typically sweet fruits at lunchtime, very often bananas. I like bananas. But I'll eat any sweet fruit that's available. Depends on what's in season. In persimmon season, I'm eating persimmon, and in fig season, it's figs. But anything that's sweet, I'll enjoy it at lunchtime. And then for my dinner meal, I have all the fruit I care for, and when I'm sure that I've had all the fruit I want, then I enjoy a great big salad. And I chow down on my vegetables. I enjoy eating my vegetables. I like them plain, I like them in a salad, I like them in soup, I like them prepared almost any way you could make them. But I eat my vegetables, and I enjoy my vegetables. Do I eat vegetables every single day? No, it's not a law that I must eat vegetables every single day, but I eat them almost every single day. I eat more vegetables, I believe, than any human being alive when we count whole, fresh, ripe, raw, organic foods. In terms of whole foods and salads, I eat vegetables every day. With very few exceptions, it's a ton of vegetables. I believe I've eaten more vegetables in raw food, whole form, than any man alive. And for that matter, probably more fruit than any man alive. My physical performance is still at peak as I approach 60. My mental performance is as clear, if not clearer, than it ever has been. My emotions are more calm, and I enjoy them far more, and I feel far more giving and loving and peaceful and happy than I've ever known in my lifetime. And for me, that says a lot, because I really wasn't an easy to get along with guy. I wasn't calm. I was prone to outbursts of intense anger when I ate a cooked food diet. That doesn't happen anymore. My sex life Still functions perfectly. I'm not sure what else we could want. I'm still setting personal bests in fitness performance and creating and developing and achieving new moves in fitness and in teaching that I never thought that I'd be able to do. And it's pretty impressive to me. It's inspiring to me. And I want it to be inspiring to others that if you live healthfully, health happens. And it'll accumulate, and your health will grow, and you'll experience positives wherever you put your emphasis. Whether that's in being able to work more, think more, learn more, do more, perform better, jump higher, run faster, further, longer, whatever it might be. Whether it's to lift more, it doesn't matter. Healthful living invariably results in health. I'm watching athletes extend their professional careers by 10 and 15 years beyond what they had hoped for simply by using the 80-10-10 diet. If you haven't read it, it's time you did. Do I ever use fatty foods? Sure. I'll take a few almonds or a few sesame seeds and put them in a salad, blend them into a sauce. But how often? Not that often. Maybe once a week, maybe twice a week, but not that often, and not that much. The point is, I use very, very little what are known as overt fatty foods. I put my emphasis on fruits and vegetables because that's where the good stuff is. And so I make a point to eat the good stuff because it takes me where I want to go. It's no different than driving down the street. You use the roads that get you where you want to go. Are there consequences other than positive ones on the 80-10-10 diet? Not that I've seen. I see that some people have trouble implementing it properly. They read my book and they're not fully sure what I meant, and that's fine. I understand that. But when you implement the program properly, it works. Why? Because we're human beings and we're designed to eat fruits and vegetables. And it's really that simple. I don't cure anybody, I don't treat anybody, but when they apply the principles of healthful living, health happens. It accumulates. And so, for me, whether it's the social issues or the emotional issues or any other issues, I don't really have any problems eating raw food. I find it very easy to explain to people that I'm careful about my health. I find it very easy to bring a little bit of my own food if I'm going somewhere, or tell people, please could you make sure to have a little bit of fruits and vegetables in the house to help me make sure that I get what I need. I don't mind expressing to people that I'm really particular about my food, and that's why I brought a little bit of my own just to be sure. And nobody takes offense. I haven't lost any friends over the fact that I like to take care of my health, any more than an athlete. No athlete loses friends over wanting to be athletic. We respect each other enough to know that some people want to read books and some people want to be particular about the foods they eat, and some people want to make sure that they see enough movies, or some people want to do their art or practice their guitar or whatever it is, and that's fine. And raw food is no different in this regard. It's just another thing that we do. It's part of my life. It's not who I am. It's not who I am. It's just the food I eat. It's like the air that I breathe. I prefer to breathe fresh air. If you say to me, hey, let's get together for a couple days. Do you want to meet in the city or do you want to meet in the country? I'm going to say, let's meet in the country. I like the fresh air better. I like going hiking and going swimming and running on the beach more than I like museums. Do I appreciate the occasional museum? Yes. But if you ask me for choice, I'm going to take the beach. I like a day at the beach. I don't know if there's more that you need from me right this very moment. The science supports raw foods. History supports raw foods. If you don't eat enough fruit, I guarantee you will be off the raw food diet. in a very short amount of time. We've seen it time and again. Raw food leaders come into the raw food diet and they talk about their raw food approach and how it's different from 80-10-10. People say, oh, you avoid fruit completely, minimize fruit, too much fruit, don't eat much fruit. And then they don't leave you with much else to eat except vegetables and fat. And within a matter of months or a matter of a few years, those same people are saying, supplement, 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 supplement. And shortly thereafter, they're saying, well, you know, I do eat some cooked food. Or I'm really not vegan anymore. I'm not even vegetarian anymore. I'm not thinking for a second that I'm a special guy. I'm thinking that all I did was look at the signs put out there by nature and follow the rules. I'm following the rules set up by nature, and health happens. I haven't been sick in over 30 years. I've experienced fit day after healthy day after great day for every day for over 30 years. I wasn't a healthy kid, and it's a dramatic change. And to me, it's worth living healthfully to experience health every day. Is there anything special about that? I don't really think so. I think that what's special are all the rewards that come with health. I think that being able to play with kids, I think that having the energy and the enthusiasm for new projects, I think that being fit and able to play with adults who are fit is a real treat. And that having a mind that's still clear and still learning all the time, to me is a wonderful thing. I don't like when the world starts closing in and you can do less and less and less and less until you can't do anything at all. I'm not looking forward to going out in parts. I'm not suggesting for a second that you're going to live to be 1,000,000, but that while you're alive, you want to be as healthy and as joyful as you possibly can. I think that the experience of living healthfully grows, and we learn better and better to take care of our own needs and requirements, that we respect the fact that healthful living results in health and all else results in symptoms. And if we look around at the people who've been leading in the raw food movement and follow the models that have been successful, you too will be eating fruits and vegetables because those are the universal health foods. Those are the foods that people have claimed result in health since anybody has ever made a comment about what foods are good for you. Fruits and vegetables are the foods that are best for us. We've watched raw food leader after raw food leader fail in their special raw food approach, or change it again and again and again and again. Where is the solid, continuous line of successful performance? The 80-10-10 diet shows you the way. Foodandsport.com has more free information about healthful living than most all the other raw food sites combined. If you want to learn about healthful living, I've created a host of books, tapes, videos, charts, DVDs, CDs, and endless materials and events where you can learn about healthful living, invest in your health, come spend time with healthy people. We've been saying the same message for over 30 years. Healthful living results in health. You cause your health or you cause your sickness. It's too easy to be healthy. And once you have your health, you can have anything else you desire. All you have to do is go after it. Without your health, it's almost impossible to get those other things you desire. Without your health, the only thing you become concerned about is regaining your health. Eat your fruits and vegetables, folks. Eat a lot of them. Eat all you care for. Eat without guilt. Eat to the point enough fruits so that you experience no food cravings whatsoever. Enough vegetables so that you're sure you've gotten all the volume you want and you experience no craving for salt, and that you're completely content with your food every single day. Go to health! This is Dr. Doug Graham, wishing you the very, very best of everything.